Okay, next up on our vowel sounds, we have the O. This is how you write O sounds in Gregg. And it uses what's called the O hook, because if you take an O and you bisect it, what you're left with is this bottom half, which forms this hook, which is used to form all of the O sounds. So the short O, as in rot, would look like this, R-O-T. The medium length O sound, as in raw, or ah, would look like this with a dot. And then finally the long O, as in wrote, can be indicated with a dash, just like with our A vowel and our E vowel. Remember how we can mark them to indicate different length words. You can mark each of these vowel sounds if you need to, in order to really ensure what it is that you're writing in context. So, but again, in practice, the context of the sentence kind of does a lot of the heavy lifting, so you'll very rarely see these markings in practice. Another thing you might notice, the O hook is in fact written up and down like this, but when it's combined with certain strokes, for convenience, it can be turned on its side. So if we have like the word on, for example, on is just an O and then an N, and in order to write it, you just turn it on its side like this. You wouldn't want to write it like this, on. That is no go. It's much smoother and faster to write it on its side like this. So if we take another example, let's do home. Home, H-O-M. Home. Not like this, H-O-M. Sometimes I see this mistake here. This is really going to slow you down as you start to pick up speed. So in addition to the M's or the N's, if you combine it with a word, an R, like in the word or, similarly, you just turn it on its side. Okay, same with L. So if we do the word whole, for example, H-O-L, on its side. So if you have a hard time remembering the O sounds, or which sounds get paired with the O hook, just remember this little mnemonic device that the manual provides. John Paul Jones. So John Paul Jones. John Paul Jones. John Paul Jones contains all of the different O sounds that you might find. So you have the short O in John, as in aw, John, versus the medium length O, as in Paul or paw, Paul, Paul, versus the long O, as in Jones, J-O-N-S, Jones. So if you get stuck, just remember John Paul Jones. Okay, just to reinforce the point here, let's just do a couple examples. Do the word hot. Hot, H-O-T, hot. Next word, top, T-O-P, top. Cross. So cross is the medium length O sound. So it's going to look like this, K-R-O-S, left motion S. Next one, withdraw. Withdraw is a combination of with and draw. So with, ith, de, ra. Do it over here. Ith, de, ra. Withdraw. Okay. Next, long O sound, as in grow. G-R-O, grow. Again, not necessary to mark it, but you can if you want. Grow. Finally, rope. R-O-P. Rope.